Hello, everyone. So the issue with a really good idea, with this immense enthusiasm or vision to go for something, to go and do something, to make some kind of change, is it doesn't necessarily speak to the quality of wisdom that can hold a broader, more long-term awareness of consequence. When it comes to that which we're really rallied about, that which we're really excited about, that which we feel very passionate about, that which feels really important, there's a tendency for us to move with a sort of imminence, like we got to deal with this right now. Things have to be dealt with, or here's a solution, here's a response, here's an opportunity. And more often than not, I find that will lead us somewhere and may provide some kind of short-term satisfaction or resolution, but then it will reveal to us a whole bunch of new consequences and experiences and things to deal with after the fact. And of course, I'm setting us up to look at the current Mars-Jupiter conjunction. What we are defensive about, what we think is really important, like our truth that we really need to affirm, or, the thing that we really need to speak out against. Whatever it is we want to talk about, obviously points to what's important to us. Otherwise, we would actually remain silent. I'm making this video, and a part of my own reflection is, what is there for me authentically to speak about? What's important to me? And I wouldn't be speaking about it if there wasn't some sort of personal relevance for me on my own evolutionary journey. If I wasn't processing something or learning something. Otherwise, if there is no personal interest in the words that I'm speaking, if there wasn't some sort of personal edge of discovery and integration, if it wasn't relevant for my own ongoing growth, this wouldn't be fun or interesting for me at all. So this is true for whatever we're interested in, whatever we're rallied about, and in particular, whatever we're fighting for or defending against. Obviously, it points to what's important to us, right? Where we see our path, what we're working out. It does not point to what's objectively important. These words, these videos, these teachings aren't objectively important. Nothing in this world is. It's subjectively important. And those who are listening probably resonate on some level, feel like this is also resonating and landing for you on your journey, and we're sharing in that. There's sort of a shared resonance with whatever it is I'm speaking about. But we have many, many people on this planet, and many, many people are sort of an activist in regards to whatever is worth acting for. And I'm not speaking about activists in some sort of political sense. We're all activists relative to what's important to us. And it does come back down to such a personal, internal relationship to why we are here. What's the point of our life? What are we living for? We have a transit like this with Mars-Jupiter, and it can really bring up two pieces. One, a greater opportunity to reflect on, I can go in that direction, but is that what I really want? Right? Jupiter can here reflect a greater possibility of insight and awareness. Where am I really trying to go? In that sense, often with Jupiter, there's an elimination of paths. There's actually a simplification of the journey because we realize, this, just identity. I don't really need that identity. I don't have to fight for this. I don't have to defend this. I don't have to act in these ways. I can let it go. I don't have to walk this path. I don't have to fight those battles. And in the same sense, this transit can really speak to this is what's really important to me. This is worth my energy. This is worth my investment. It's important with this Mars-Jupiter that we're not just allowing ourselves to get rallied away by the moment, by the strong sense of, go and do this, gotta do this now. Because very often, this is true with Mars in general, and even more so with Jupiter, we can have this strong sense of immediacy. This is what I gotta do, or this is what I gotta say. And we're bound by patterns of being that maybe aren't fully conscious or useful for us anymore, actually. They're on their way out. And we're going to make choices. It's going to instigate reactions from the environment, and maybe the long-term consequences of our actions aren't necessarily worth it, right? All Mars choices will lead us down a path, and we're going to learn from it. And the question with Mars becomes really, how can I make the best choices now and learn more quickly. There's a degree to which within all Mars transits, we can't speed up our learning because we're just not aware of what we're not aware of. We're going to make our choices. We're going to fight our battles. We're going to react and do the things that we do. And it's going to teach us. But as we develop more wisdom, more self-reflection, we realize, oh, I can walk that path, but I don't have to. So we're always, in some sense, transmuting our energy with Mars. We're always learning how to direct that instinctual energy, which needs to be moving us somewhere, in a more helpful, useful direction. It's a continual refinement process throughout our life. So there's a great opportunity with this transit to catch that sense of immediacy. I didn't do any readings for this, but I just think about the I Ching hexagram 1. It's all yang lines, right? All the yang lines it's like pure masculine energy. And it's pure creative energy. And one of the teachings of that hexagram is there's a lot of creative potential. What are you going to do with it? And one of the teachers that I forgot his name, but he wrote in this one book that I really appreciated. It was just something like, just because you can do something doesn't mean it's a good idea to do it. And here, what I would really emphasize, just because there's an intuition saying, oh, here's a path, here's a direction, doesn't mean we need to jump on the first opportunity to go there. To be able to reference our own intuition, right, our own sense of where the path is going, it's not about going slow, but it's about being able to bring wisdom, Jupiter, insight, into our impulses to act. Simply to ask ourselves, what is this for? What's my purpose? What's my intention? Why am I doing this? The hastiness will have us look over that part and just want to keep on going. But thoughtfulness will just bring us into a wise pause of reflection. What am I doing? Why am I going this way? What's this mean for me? It also allows us to assess, how do I want to be in response to the content that's arising right now? Jupiter can here reflect a moment where we are bringing a lot of awareness relative to old patterns of behavior and realize, oh, there's a new way to act. There's a new pathway that I can walk that I haven't seen before. On the flip side, Mars-Jupiter is saying this is a time for courage, right? Just as much as we can kind of get ourselves all tangled up and go for short-term experiences and create long-term messiness, Jupiter-Mars very, very strongly speaks to what are the opportunities presenting right now. There might be a sense, I'm called to act, I'm called to do something. And again, it's like if we're willing to just be with the energy, it's building up, really tune into where's the path wanting to take us, the Jupiter pilgrimage, right? There's a journey here. We don't have to have it all planned out. We're intuiting it, we're sensing it, we're feeling into it as we go. And we're learning how to be a good traveler. Not really know what the next step is or, where we're going to go next, but we're focused on the growth, focused on the learning, on the expansion of our own awareness, on the expansion of our own realization. We're wanting the journey to be a healing journey, to be a journey that is ultimately leading us towards greater peace and healing, greater knowledge, greater wisdom. And so how am I going to respond to this opportunity or this content arising or this challenging, triggering facet, right? Wherever this is transiting, wherever early degrees Aries is in your chart, and then by association, wherever Mars, which rules that, is in your chart, this is what's activated where we're actually needing to make choices to further our evolutionary growth. It can reflect very short periods of time of essential realizations and changes and decisions that open up a new journey for us. To walk it mindfully and with care means this can open up for us with minimal conflict via our choice, our intention to focus on self-knowledge more than any sense of immediate gratification. And what happened as Mars passes Jupiter, it's a new phase. So this week, in many ways, is bringing us to the threshold of new choices, new opportunities, new insights to act upon and integrate. We're going to see a lot more clarity after the new phase. And much of this can be, here's the thing to do it now, right? Like, you've been planning or thinking about this, here's the opportunity. And again, it's really important to see that in light of, there is a way to be in relationship to things where the calling for action is very clear and intuitive. It's sort of unplanned, but it's clear. We know why we're doing it. It's a very clear, clean calling towards movement, versus where there's a sense of, I don't want to miss out, and there's hastiness and messiness in it. And we have to defend a lot. We have to fight a lot. We get defensive in our actions, in our movements. There's a different energetic. We might feel now is the time, but if we bring hastiness into it, it just might possibly create a little more complexity in the process. And again, whatever happens, however we are in relationship to these energies, next week, after they begin to separate, we'll begin to see where it's taking us, right? As it begins to separate, that's when we'll begin to feel, okay, this is where we're going now. This is what's unfolding. This is how the path is sort of leading us right now. And we're actually in for a very powerful time with Mars and Aries. We have the Mars-Jupiter, and then once Mars gets into the teens, we're going to have Mars-Chiron, and then once Mars is in the final third of Aries, it'll square Pluto as well. So for every third of the Mars and Aries transit over the next several weeks, there are very strong stations along the journey. And that's interesting to note, because once Mars leaves Aries and enters Taurus, it's going to be moving straight towards Uranus, straight towards the North Node. And in August, we'll have this very powerful activation with Mars, Uranus, and the North Node, which is sort of like a total paradigm shifter. There's the changes this summer are beyond what any of us can really conceive of or understand. So if we think of Mars always as the moment-to-moment path unfolding, right? It's like this choice to this choice, this action to this action. We're just taking it one step after another. There's a lot of activity right now, a lot of new decisions, new insights, new opportunities, and really new ways of thinking. It's just really helpful to think about this, and I'll close with this thought. Of all the human beings in the world, the things that we're really excited about, the things that we are activated about, that we feel to defend, or that we need to prove, they reflect not what's objectively important, but what's subjectively important. Right? What each individual feels, this is important for my sense of self. Right? I need to fight for this. And of course, as we grow, as we evolve, that which is important to fight for, defend for, that changes, right? Because what we want changes, what's important to us changes. We see the path ahead of us according to what we think is most important, which really always points us back to who we think we are, right? What identity are we trying to affirm and uphold? Sometimes I listen to political commentators, and you can just see where there's a certain point where identity is really wrapped up around a certain opinion. Like, I'm right. I need to be right. And when we need to be right, we go to war. And if we can catch my need to be right is really just pointing us back to who I think I am and what I need to uphold in life in order to sustain my sense of self. We can ask ourselves, well, is this true? Am I this? Is this who I really want to be? Right? Who am I without this? So it's helpful just to have that awareness that the opportunity for expanded realization and growth during this time is very much united with our willingness and interest in looking at our reactiveness, in looking where we get charged, in looking at the very places we come into defense and opposition. It's not about being agreeable with others, or we're different and we want different things sometimes. And a part of life is saying, I want this is important for me. Again, otherwise we won't further ourselves. But to be really willing to ask ourselves, how important is it? Right? What are the stakes? What do I value more? Being right and affirming my sense of identity? Or evolution or growth, and to look at the very places where we might otherwise feel to fall into those reactive patterns and see that there might be an opportunity at this time for an immense amount of self-realization and growth and insight into this. So it should be a very exciting and engaging and content and rich week.